Starting all the way to the bottom of the map here at the Acer Team Story Cup, we have for Team Acer, MMA. He's the 4th player now, and so far not a single player was able to win a game. Against this bad boy to the top right for Team Millenium, it is ForGG, and it is by far their best player in this current Team Story Cup season. Currently, ForGG is 9-0. He didn't lose a single map just yet. Of course, this is only the 3rd match that both of these teams are playing, but still, it's quite incredible if you think about it that ForGG hasn't lost a map yet. And by now, being 9-0, I think he's actually the top scorer of the league. MMA has won a couple of very crucial battles, on the other hand, for Team Acer. And especially the ones against Tefl come to mind. A great series that we had back then. It's all the way up on the YouTube channel as well, so if you want to check that out, make sure that you look for it. It's MMA versus Tefl. The entire team match was actually very exciting, not only the 3 matches between them. But yeah, right now we have a very different matchup. We've seen a lot of Zerg versus Terran today, and this is our first TVT. And as you can see with the gas here already quite early in the main base of ForGG, he doesn't really think about taking an early expansion, whereas his opponent is playing the map and is really taking that command center first. This is Ultimatum Stronghold after all, and it's one of those maps where you have the pocket expansion and you know that you can go for an early command center, and that's exactly what we see him do right now. So ForGG at this point is up against an opponent that starts with a very early base. He himself will most likely go into an aggressive play. Well, not most likely, definitely. He has to do something here. So we might see Banshees with Clo, we might see just a little bit of Widowmine pressure, maybe just a drop, something along those lines. But he has to do something, that much is already for certain. Because if he just sits laid back and tries to play the game normally with only Reaper harassing a little bit, then MMA will get a huge lead in economy, already trying to just work that with a double barracks here at the front, and the Reaper shouldn't be able to do too much damage, maybe a bit, but not too much. SCV is going to find out exactly about the position that we see here for the Terran player of Team Acer at the bottom right, so the Reaper will follow in just a second, and also get its first kill here. And of course, by now he already knows that there is gas. The one thing that he doesn't know is there is no expansion. But he saw the SCV moving down, at least he has a bit of an inkling now. So, to the bottom right of the map, we have, at this point, the SCV is still doing its rounds, and the Reaper is gonna join it soon. But it looks a little bit like we might actually see ForGG just trying to, at least for now, catch up in economy, but that's not gonna be easy with a double base ready and the orbital tech about to be completed for MMA. So tech it has to be, and that's exactly what we see for the Millenium player to the top. The factory already there. Wouldn't be surprised to see a second gas very soon. The Reaper here only has to deal with a single Marine and will be able to take that down and just barely escape from the SCVs, but the next Marine is already making its way over. Not gonna get into range though, so the Reaper is still there. And the second one is already in position as well, so another Marine already out, but yes, a little bit too late on the draw for Reaper number 2, and therefore it's a bad exchange for the Millenium player. Reaper for Marine, that's not really what he wanted to go for. And what he does also go for is of course that second gas. So we are going to see that starport most likely with a tech lab for the Banshees. At the same time, all the way at the bottom, we have now at the natural, not really a big saturation yet, but we see double gas taken in the main base, and with another barracks being built, also the tech lab for Stim. Whereas ForGG to the top has now the starport in position and the tech lab building right next to it. So this is going to be the situation where we have Banshees moving in, and it's something that most likely MMA is going to anticipate since he saw the gas opening and he realizes that ForGG will have to work with this tech somehow, and one of the best options for him is going to be into the Banshees. So we will most likely see a missile turret over there, and if not that, then at least a couple of Marines trying to pretend the mineral line, since it is of course the first target that those Banshees are going to arrive at. Barracks already going for the scouting information, and with that he's already telling us that he wants to go into mech, and we have him with a second factory in his main base. That's actually, no, that's actually ForGG with his first factory, my bad. Mixed up those production tabs for a second. Yeah, but it looks a little bit like we are seeing additional factories for ForGG pretty soon. The barracks is being used as a scout, so there's no additional add-on so that we can see Stim, so it doesn't look like it's going to be a bio upgrades for him. And at the bottom of the map we have now for MMA the engineering bay that will allow him to get that missile turret that we talked about earlier. The Banshee is already on its way, and we have the Cloak as well being researched. But the Hellions, they could make their way into the main base, well, if not for the bunker and of course the race supply depots. So not a whole lot that he can do about that. But at any point in the game, if MMA really opens up those two supply depots and the Hellions get in, that would be absolutely devastating. Banshee making its way over here, but guess what? That missile turret I was talking about earlier is of course already here. ForGG going into Widow Mines now and trying to find the sweet spot where he can attack a few harvesters. Can't really do that. Stim isn't done for MMA though, so he has not the option to just stim and take down the Banshee. It's safe for now. Third base being built for ForGG. The harvester count, as you can imagine, is a little bit in favor of MMA with the fast expansion that he had there. And he's not just trying to take down the supply depot. He needs to get into the main base, maybe even into range that he can take down a few of the Marines. Can't really do that just yet, and the Banshee is crucial here since it provides the high ground vision. He might get close enough to take down an SCV or two. Not really the case. It's really just the stance that we have at the beginning, and so far MMA is winning it. He's taking the leading part, if you so want. And I'm not quite sure if that makes ForGG a woman, but at least it makes him the more passive player right now. Oh, well, not passive. He's trying to be aggressive here. I mean, you can really see him trying to do something, but he's the one who kind of can't do anything. He's trying to look for an opportunity to do some damage, but he doesn't really get the chance to do that. And now the double drop is heading out. So thankfully for Millenium, ForGG is already back, moving back with his army, realizing that he can't do anything about the position that MMA has set up here. If not for those units retreating, that double drop might have actually just demolished the natural, or at least the mineral line. So pretty important for him to have those units in a good spot. One thing that we have at the front are still Widow Mines here, so an expansion could be harassed very soon. Well, he's trying, well, moving into the choke points against the Hellions is probably not the best idea. In general, that move out is going to be pretty tough to work with. How many Vikings do we have? 2. If they get close enough, they could actually try to take down one of the Medivacs there, but yeah, it's not going to happen. Not with the afterburners. They're just a little bit too quick. If you look at the resources lost, it's not like a lot happened here in the game. It was both of them trying to go for it, but not to an actual effect. 2 SCVs kill against 1, 2 Marines against the Reaper, not too much going on there. And now the third base coming into play for ForGG, who, as we already suspected earlier, goes into mech. One thing that we have, on the other hand, is that Widow Mine doing a little bit of damage. The one over here was not triggered just yet, but he knows by now what's going on there, so we should see a scan very, very soon. At least that's what or did he not realize that it's there? Because that Widow Mine is going to get another shot in just a few seconds. And if he triggers that correctly, he can take down just simply one of the Medivacs if he wants to. Yep, the Widow Mine is going to get another shot off, and, well, there we go. Gets a Marine, and that's it. So, yeah, not doing too much. Couldn't have killed the Medivac, right? Well, yeah, there's the scan. So, in the end, 2 kills and the scan, and ForGG already moving back with the Widow Mine, but moves in. Can't really do anything against those siege tanks, though. Like, the siege tank setup that we see for MMA will definitely allow him to take that third base. Needs to move that orbital command down here. The bio upgrades for our Acer player are currently Combat Shield Stim, +1 and Concussive Shell. So going for the full array. Whereas we see for his opponent the Blue Flame Hellion upgrade, which of course also benefits the Hellbats, and we have him with a lot of catching up to do right now, actually surpassing MMA even in the harvest account with 59 to 54 overall supplies, very similar for both of them. This base completely set up, so the Banshee has no chances of moving in there. 2 Widow Mines have been taken out, so another scan was already used over here by MMA. Kind of works in the end for ForGG if you think about it, so at least he shut down 2 mules, but that's about it. The air battle is going to be an interesting one, since MMA is apparently thinking about contesting the air units of his opponent, and currently that puts him up to 6 Vikings against 5, and it looks very much like he's going to win it, because ForGG is not building any Vikings any longer, so the Viking count is going to be much better for him. For MMA, that is. Now he starts to build a few again. The problem really is that the Vikings are the only anti-air that ForGG has, meaning that if MMA wins it, then the Banshees are going to take care of the situation, since we do not have any Thors. So ForGG needs to be super careful how this is going to work out. He really needs more Vikings than his opponent, but he only has a single starport if I'm not mistaken, and that makes things a little bit complicated for him. Double starport against single starport, even with a tech lab here and not the second reactor, we have still triple Viking production if he needs it against the double. So for now, MMA moving in once again, both of them just scanning a little bit and trying to get an idea of what exactly is happening there. There comes the army. Oh, against the Marines on the other hand. If he baits those out a bit, that would be bad for him. Another army is set up right over here. Marines just checking all the positions for additional bases, and that army is in a very, very bad spot. If he is being scouted, and yes he is, he's seen, and that will force MMA back for now, and ForGG maybe in a position where he can do some damage. No, it doesn't really look like it. Okay, he's still spotted, so he knows exactly where it is, and there's a cancel on that command center attempt that we see up here. One is being built to the left side, but it's time for ForGG to move in right now, and that's exactly what he's doing. He has 130 army supply against 93, and oh my god, like, he's going for it, and immediately MMA moves back here. But the air battle is, of course, won by MMA, as already mentioned earlier. He has a much superior Viking count, and now his Banshees can do the damage, but we have the rest of his army just moving up that ramp. He's going for it at this point. We have the force that we see earlier for MMA all the way at the third base. At the top, not even repaired that command center over here. And MMA is currently slaughtering ForGG all the way there at the bottom, but the mass repair on the orbital is saving it for now. Another siege tank is going down though, and suddenly MMA, the one with a much superior force. Also the resources lost heavily in his favor. A nice defense against what we saw here from ForGG. And ForGG was just trying to go with his hat through the wall there. He was just like throwing his entire army against what MMA had and said like, well, I'm gonna beat you down right now. Like, I have a hammer and I'm gonna drop it. And I'm gonna drop it on your third. The problem really was that losing the air battle then forced him to, well, take a lot of losses at the hands of the Banshees, and the entire setup for MMA in general with the siege tanks there too did quite a lot of damage. And once again, those Banshees with 10 kills and 1 kill, they're just going for it. They're moving in once again. The air battle lost, and what exactly can ForGG do right now? I mean, his best chance is probably to build a couple of Thors, because catching up with the Viking count of his opponent is not going to happen anytime soon. Reinforcements moving in. Well, there they are actually. He already has 3 Thors. Look at that. I missed those bad boys, but they haven't taken part in the fight just yet. And talking about fight, that's what we see right now. MMA is suddenly on the run, and he doesn't really want to stim, and you know why? Because he doesn't have any medivacs. Every single stim right now hurts, and that's why those few Hellbats still get a chance of catching up. We have another set of units moving all the way over there to the top right, and that's actually our 2 Banshees that we saw there. And they can now take down this mineral line if they want to, and they definitely want to. We have the rest of the army for ForGG trying to take the bio units apart right now, and this is the time where MMA decides to fight. A nice concave here for him. The siege tanks, so they look at this spread. This is beautiful. This is like when I spread peanut butter on a roll. This is exactly the same thing. It's absolutely beautiful and super tasty, and that's what MMA was thinking about. This force that he saw there from ForGG and was like, yummy, look at that. I'm gonna take that, and he did. Taking down even more harvesters at his opponent's natural right now. 28 killed already, and well, I can't tell you that much, he's not done yet. That's 9 kills on Banshee number 1 and 24 on Banshee number 2. Even if they die in the end, it's gonna be so worth it for them. The 2-2 upgrades are completed, +1 attack here for the ground units, well, for the mech units as well. We have currently for MMA a 4th base being set up. That's something that ForGG is dreaming of as well. That's why he currently sets his command center into action. But MMA is really playing the game that Team Acer needs him to play right now. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. ForGG might lose his first map in this ATC season. Keep in mind, as mentioned before, that this guy is currently 9-0. But MMA now even with the Cattle Bruisers. He is going for the Cattle Bruisers here. First one is already being built, and he is up in a dominant position. He's just cutting off the resupply. More of he's getting even more tanks killed. Look how many tanks did he already take down? Like 17 in total. Wow, just look at that. This bio army moving in here. This is just him taking charge. 90 supply, army supply against 33, and this base, this planetary, yeah, this is just not gonna happen. So he might even be able to take that down. Yes, he should. No, he only has 3, 4 Marines. Yeah, most likely not going to be able to take this on. I don't think that he has the Viking count any longer, at least they're not present here. But look what he has at the bottom left. There's another base being built, another command center. Those two he can go into planetaries if he wants to. There's also battlecruiser number 1, and he's just going for a massive doom drop right now. Missile turrets, who cares? Like, dude, going straight for the production buildings, and this is like a GG move that we see right there. Camping at the production, taking down those factories one by one, and slow to react ForGG, because there's not a whole lot that he can do about this. We have 2 Banshees at least that are doing the damage, but this is just so much DPS that we see there, and he can always move back with the Medivacs. He has the mobility that he needs to pull that off, and that's exactly what he does. More and more battle cruisers are being produced back at home, the reinforcements on the way. He's building 7 command centers at a time. 7. We're talking about the number that comes after 6. So he is just dumping his minerals, and he's like, yeah, I have so much money, I don't know what to do with that, so maybe I just throw away my small army at the top and try to go for it, take down as much as I can. Maybe I can even kill a base, and I just retreat with the rest of the medevacs, and that's what we currently see him doing over here, dropping again towards that 3rd base. And look in the main, there's even another Banshee going ham. 30 kills already, like, what? 30 kills on that Banshee. ForGG is just being slapped around right now. Wow, this is crazy. I mean, this guy had a great match today already, don't get me wrong. Taking down 3 Zerg players in a row, Blythe, Scarlet and Nurture, that was great. And he is definitely the heavy hitter for his team. But in this particular game, he has found his master. MMA is definitely showing him right now how this game is gonna play. We have another battlecruiser building, and that puts the battlecruiser count currently up to, yeah, what exactly? To 2. So we're gonna have the 3rd one popping out in a second. And just look at that income, look at those bases everywhere, that map control that we see. The upgrades are currently, the mech upgrades are nearly as good for MMA as they are for ForGG, and of course Bio is by now on 3-3. So resources lost, let's have a quick look at that. 21,000 against 13,000. If that happens in a mirror match, you know something went wrong. Something went horribly wrong. And, well, 63 harvesters killed already by MMA during the course of this game. It's just not looking good for ForGG, and he's staying in the game. He's waiting for a mistake to happen, and he still has that 4th base over here, so that gives him at least a bit of hope. But here comes also the, well, the Yamato cannon is being researched. 4 battlecruisers at around drifting into German at some point, because, like, I'm so at all how MMA is currently showing ForGG up, but yeah. We have at the bottom left, how many mules are in the game right now? 9 mules for MMA, and this is pretty insane. Look at that, like, he's building like tons of barracks right now, setting the production up all the way at the bottom left. Even if he would lose his main base by some miracle stroke, he would definitely not lose the game then. Yeah, he's just doing whatever he can to secure his lead. ForGG with a great series play today, but this is just not his game. The small wins that we saw from MMA already today, they just led to this huge advantage, and by now there's one player in the game that can win the game for ForGG, and that is MMA. If MMA goes for smoke right now and leaves his computer on, that ForGG has a chance. But let's be absolutely honest here for a second. If MMA plays like how he played the rest of the start of this game, then ForGG has no chance as far as behind he is right now. The army supply might seem similar, but it's the composition that we're looking at here. The composition is the big part. 7 battlecruisers, 11 Vikings, nearly no anti-air for his opponent, Yamato cannons in there, the bases that we see all over the map, the amount of mules alone. Like, look at how many bases we have. We have currently 3 planetary fortress and 10 orbitals. 10 orbitals against 4 orbitals. That's what we currently see here. And here comes that air army moving in and taking down the Vikings. Yamato action, and bam, the Vikings are just disappearing. And this is the time where ForGG just tries to move cross map, because he realizes, I cannot face this army. I have no anti-air. I need to go in and do as much damage as I can, because I cannot take him down. Another base being built at the top left by MMA. He apparently has a mission, and the mission is to claim every single base that is left on this map. The battle cruisers are moving back, and that's going to trap eventually the siege tank army of MMA, sorry, of ForGG, who's definitely going to do some damage here. But he's going to lose this army, and can he rebuild it? No, he can't. He doesn't have the resources to go for that. But at this point, he's going to get his first few kills here. Here come a few heat-seeker missiles. He's trying to pull it off against his own. Yeah, he's trying to pull a bomber here, but sorry. When bomber did it, it kind of worked. Against the mech army, doesn't really. And here we go. Bio is making its way in. He has to turn around, and that gives the battle cruisers the opportunity to take part in the actual battle and kills the army. The GG is called. ForGG finally defeated. MMA is putting the first point onto the scoreboard for his team and forces out player number 2 for Team Millenium.